Star Trek. The Next Generation's reunion happened 14 years before Picard's Season 3. For many fans, the emotional heart of Season 3 of Star Trek, Picard felt like something miraculous, a long-awaited reunion decades in the making. Watching Jean-Luc Picard sit once again beside his trusted senior staff carried enormous nostalgic power. It was marketed, celebrated, and remembered as the reunion of Star Trek, The Next Generation. But here's the surprising truth. The real TNG reunion already happened 14 years earlier. And understanding that earlier gathering completely changes how we view Picard Season 3, not as the beginning of a reunion, but as its emotional conclusion. The first true TNG goodbye, Star Trek, Nemesis, 2002. When Star Trek, Nemesis premiered, audiences didn't realize they were witnessing something historic. Unlike earlier films such as Star Trek, Generations, Star Trek, First Contact, or Star Trek, Insurrection, which still felt like continuing adventures, Nemesis quietly functioned as a farewell. Every member of the Enterprise E senior staff appeared together. Patrick Stewart as Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Jonathan Frakes as William Riker, LeVar Burton as Geordi LaForge, Gates McFadden as Beverly Crusher, Michael Dorn as Worf, Marina Sirtis as Deanna Troi, Brent Spiner as Data. Crucially, they weren't cameo appearances or fragmented storylines. They functioned exactly as they had during TNG's television run, a unified command crew facing one final mission together. The poker game closing the film mirrored the ending of TNG's finale, All Good Things, symbolically completing the crew's journey. At the time, fans assumed more movies would follow. They never did. 14 years of separation changed everything. After Nemesis, the TNG cast scattered across the expanding Star Trek universe. Some characters reappeared briefly elsewhere, but the full ensemble never reunited on screen again. For over a decade, the Enterprise D family existed only in memory. That long absence transformed what reunion meant. By the time Picard premiered in 2020, Jean-Luc Picard was intentionally isolated. The show emphasized aging, regret, and unfinished relationships. Former friendships existed mostly as echoes rather than living bonds. This creative decision worked because audiences remembered the crew's last true unity, even if subconsciously, from 2002. The emotional gap between Nemesis and Picard became part of the storytelling itself. Why Picard Season 3 felt bigger than a reunion? When the Enterprise D bridge lights powered on again in Picard Season 3, fans reacted as if history had been restored. But emotionally, something different was happening. This wasn't simply the crew meeting again. It was older friends returning after life had pulled them apart. Unlike Nemesis, where everyone still served in Starfleet Prime years, Season 3 presented characters shaped by loss, retirement, trauma, and time. Riker carried grief. Crusher lived independently for decades. Worf evolved spiritually. Geordi became both engineer and father. Picard confronted legacy itself. The reunion worked because it acknowledged the years since their last mission together, years that began the moment Nemesis ended. In other words, Picard's Season 3 paid off emotional threads planted 14 years earlier. The Enterprise D made the difference. One major distinction separates the two reunions. In Nemesis, the crew still served aboard the Enterprise E, a continuation of progress. In Picard, returning to the Enterprise D represented something deeper, home. The restored Galaxy-class starship wasn't nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. It visually connected the crew not to their last mission, but to their shared identity. That decision reframed the timeline. Nemesis equal the crew's professional farewell. Picard Season 3 equal the crew's personal closure. The earlier reunion showed them as officers. The later one showed them as family. Data's sacrifice connected both moments. Perhaps the strongest bridge between the two reunions lies with Data. His death in Nemesis defined the emotional endpoint of the TNG movie era. For years, it stood as the franchise's most permanent loss. When Picard revisited Data's legacy, it wasn't undoing the earlier ending. It was resolving unfinished grief shared by the entire crew.